Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Harachah Kodesh, the one to the apostles, elder bishops, and elders, a great millstone to war and teach you all Shalom to all the sincere Akim, pushing truth on faith throughout the four corners of the earth. While Shalom to the few sincere sisters, and the one third scattered abroad, I say Shalom. Come back at you, back at you with another lesson, Lord, want to be edifying. Gonna be a quick lesson through the spirit about I already knowing you as you better paying attention to, these riots that's going on. Look at it, rioters in Los Angeles seen spitting on and burning American flags. It's everywhere, man. You can't open up Twitter without seeing, a list of videos about the riots and the protests that's happened over there in Los Angeles. And we know this is what these elites want, because they want to bring that They want to bring that order all under of you receiving that mark of the beast, which is the RFID CHIP. So they're using, everything out their head. They just had Elon and Trump little feud of Trump saying he not gonna talk to him or something no more. Because of they had a disagreement with the big beautiful bill, but we know that they're all down for each other, man. That's just the political theater, political games, that they play. Cause he was just backing on his page, Elon Musk, a tweet from Trump, and the deportation, of the Northern Kingdom and things of that nature. So, they're still on the same side. They just have to put it out there as if they fighting with each other. When this man is the same person that's coming out with his version, of the MOTB, man, with Neuralink. So we know it's all a game. But it's gonna be a quick through the spirit, Lord, want to be edifying.
Thank the gentleman, salute him.
So, it's a little short clip, but it it seeks it wraps up, what's the things to come, with people throwing rocks. Look at these cars, got burning, other one is destroyed. I think you had like 4 of them. They were throwing on electric scooters. So people, and they're still throwing it while the police, it looked like it was a policeman trying to put, the fire out. And we know, you're going to have Republicans and people, leading to more and more violence, because the Republicans or whatever, they're saying it's basically that then the policemen and the National Guard, they're not doing enough, because the people that's protesting out there, the tensions are escalating. People are doing more than what they were, doing when the first beginning of the riots and the protests began, even with now the implementation of the National Guard. So then it's going to lead to what? People starting to, shoot. Shoot real guns instead of, rubber bullets. And that's going to cause, the other side, or however you want to call it, to bring out their guns. And then what? You have bloodshed in the streets. So these are the times, that we're coming into. And these are the times, that people want. Especially these Edomites, man. These rednecks, man, these Make America Great Again, these MAGAs. They want things to escalate so they can bring out their guns and do what they've been blessed with, which is what? Which is that sword, man. So they all under the comments saying they need to bring the Marines, and which I believe they are going to. And just like this dude, I ain't gonna read his name, but you see it says there are setting police cars on fire. The situation is not under control, invoke the Insurrection Act. And When you go into it, I looked it up, the Insurrection Act. I said, if Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, what does that mean? Blah, 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 if any president, it says to deploy active duty U.S. military or federalized National Guard troops on American soil to address domestic unrest, rebellion, or violent opposition to federal authority. Says it give the president power to act without governing permission, which, Trump, he does things without a lot of people, permission. He just does it, because he's the what? He's not a president. He's a what? He's a king, man. He passed all these laws, that people don't even agree with, man. Majority of people don't even agree with. It says if a state is in rebellion against the U.S., if law enforcement cannot control violence, which, we're seeing all these different tweets and all these people coming out, even Trump saying, that's why he needed to send the National Guard, because the LAPD, they needed help. And they put a tactical alert with the LAPD, meaning all hands on deck. All the officers gotta assist with the protest. So it says if law enforcement cannot control violence and property destruction, if people are hindering the enforcement of federal laws, if state authorities request federal help because they can't handle a crisis, what happens if it's invoked? It says troops can be deployed to cities or regions experiencing major unrest. Civil liberties might be temporarily restricted, like curfews or limited movement. It bypasses normal law enforcement channels, using military power instead could escalate tensions if used during protests or political conflict. Controversy, it rarely used. Last major use, 1992 during LA riots. What a coincidence. Seen as a thorn or even unconstitutional, depending on the circumstances. Yeah, you people gonna understand, that the Constitution, wasn't made for your ass, especially Jake anyway. But they're gonna break every which we see that over time, man, slowly but surely, especially with the freedom of speech of them. Who's always backing them and saying, hey, if you speak out against them, shit, they said we like if you another country speaking out, we can deport your ass. We know Trump bring them guillotines back, dealing with the anti-Semitism or whatever. So, these are the times, that we coming in. And I'm going to get just some few scriptures. I made it off. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And this is what, it's leading to, man. When people come out, is no more of with the PD and National Guard, rubber bullets. Things are about to rise where people, start bringing their guns, man. Jake have his gun concealed, and then Lord put that angel, that spirit on him, and then you just hear gunshots, and now you gotta bring the military, the Marines, and it's bloodshed, in the streets, and that's gonna spread across the four corners, of Babylon the Great, because this is all a part of, Esau, Edom's plan. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And, this shows it perfectly, man. Throwing scooters, bricks, setting, the police cars, on fire. This is self-explanatory. They're not, regarding, their kings nor princes, meaning their government. It says, I'm going to read this by Grok. It says, the Insurrection Act of 1807 allows the U.S. president to deploy military forces domestically to suppress insurrections or enforce laws when state authorities fail. And they've been saying they already had to bring the a National Guard because the LAPD, you know, they really they couldn't handle it, you know. So hey man, it's the tensions are rising. You know, people actions are beginning to be more violent over there in LA with those riots. It says a man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able. It's right, Insurrection Act, man. Curfews, limited movements. That's gonna lead ultimately what to those 15-minute cities, man. You know, where you don't need a car. Yeah, like over there in Arizona, I seen a clip. He said, yeah, you know, residents doesn't need a car. You know, everything is just in a small area. It says for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and great tribulation. And for great tribulation, and we know what? Famine is coming. Famine is on the horizon, you know, in Babylon the Great, man. Especially when you have Trump putting all these, you know, tariffs out. Not only is it going to be famine, but it's going to be, you know, bread, water, and things of that nature, you know, your necessities, food, water, stuff like that, going to be you know, roller coaster high, man. So people going to start to what? People going to look at their neighbor, oh, you got a backup generator, or you know, Jay going to literally go to people's houses and put their ear to the house to like, these are the times, man. Just imagine that, man. Jay coming into your house, he trying to hear if it movement and all that. He hear it, then what? Next thing you know, you hear a loud thump. Somebody kicking down your door, talking about where you at. I know you in here. You know, yeah, that's just remind me of all these different Walking Dead, The Road, Book of Eli, all these different movies, man. Where people you just see, man, when all hell break loose, apocalypse, the end, people gonna get wild out here, man. And it ain't gonna be a movie where you watch it on TV screen. It's gonna be in front of your own eyes, man. You know, you're gonna be a participant in it, man. You know, you're gonna have what? Famine of the word. When you have the famine of the word, hey, that's when really Yahweh Shemel Shai gonna release these 4 winds, man, which represents what? The destruction. You know, so famine of food and water, famine of the word, pestilences, diseases. You know, you have all these things that Yahweh Shemel Shai is gonna send unto Babylon the Great, man. Major what? Major death. This is a time like no other, man. Great tribulation, man. You got spirits created for vengeance. You got all these animals, you know, the men of the Lord. So the other apostle told them down. Don't want to be a part of that number. You know, as scripture said, we're going to be in league with the beasts of the field. But as far as these other people, like there was a bear back home in Baton Rouge. And people just looking like, you know, you got a little bear, just a bear, you know, in a tree or whatever, man. But like the point of Uriah, beautiful brother Uriah made in his camp video. You gonna have Jake, you know, smoking his little weed or whatever, or just on his phone, not knowing anything, and a bear gonna jump out of a goddamn tree and bite your ass, man. You know, these are the times that, you know, that we coming into, man. These are just, you know, the what, as the scriptures say, the beginning. This is the beginning of people not regarding their kings nor princes, man. In the course of their actions, or if you're paraphrasing, shall stand in their power, man. You know? But, you know, it's going to escalate, you know, way, way more, as the scriptures say. It's going to be a time like no other before, nor after it. You know, Babylon the Great is literally what? It's going to grow up with fire and smoke, man, just like this police car. And there ain't going to be no fire extinguisher to blow it out, man. But with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Ruach HaKodesh, dove unto the apostles, bishops, elders, great millstone, that do war and teach all. Shalom to them with their scattered abroad. I say shalom.